Alright, I'm back with Grounded. This time I'm beating the whole thing. So, let's get going. I started up a new save file on the hardest difficulty, picked Pete as my teen, and jumped in.
You can't run from me, you foul beast! You think you outsmarted me? The mighty Mulder? I don't think so, Yoked Girth. Stay tuned for what happens next on Yoked Girth. Now a word from our sponsor. Kids, are you ready for a new wild and wacky punch-o fruit flavor? Introducing Apricot.
It's a punch to the gut.
So stop by, fill up, and make sure you get your Billy Hog hot dog before you jet away.
Good morning, Brook Hollow. Today is October 20, 1990. This is your news. We have a special breaking report. The police department has released information that more local teenagers have gone missing. They were last seen earlier this week, and the only connection between the teenagers is that they are all students at Brook Hollow High School. This could be linked to the disturbing trend of other possible abductions and missing teenagers from our otherwise quiet town. If anyone has seen the teenagers or has any other information, please contact the police department. The mayor of Brook Hollow has put a curfew into effect for anyone under 18 starting tonight. Now to other news. In the business world,
Ominin, that's it. Eventually, we pulled through a hole in the fence into the main event, the backyard, where there's bugs, spiders, and more bugs. Eventually, I see a strange case with a parachute attached to it fall into the yard before I finally start playing the game.
Whoa, Pete. Oh, looks like you really stepped in it this time. Just where in the world are you? Hello? Hello? All right, Pete. Remember your scout training. Step 1, get your bearings.
Welcome to the yard.
Signal detected.
Oh, wow. My scout training doesn't have a merit badge for this.
Huh, so I'm a scout apparently.
Well, logic dictates that there are probably more of these stations around. Maybe if I keep searching, I'll find some clues. Or someone.
This is a resource analyzer. I can use it to scan items I find, and it'll give me new recipes for things. I can craft like this spear or an axe out of this pebblet. The other devices in the station aren't working, so I continue down the path and find...
Look at the size of that thing. It's probably the size of a bathroom scale? Curiosity killed the tiny Pete. Looks like this thing hooks up with those lasers. I don't think that worked properly. It seems like the machine needs all 3 lasers to function.
Alright.
Maybe there's a way to fix them?
I craft an axe and unblock one laser, but there's still one that isn't working properly. I'm gonna need more than a sprig with a sharp rock to go further in the yard, so I analyze slap and a few other things. That's enough to upgrade my brain power and unlock my first armor set, the Clover Armor. Not sure how wrapping myself in leaves protects me, but I digress. I need a workbench to craft the armor, so I pitch camp by the field station. I put out a few more blueprints like a roasting pit for cooking food and a trail marker to mark where my base is. Another tool I'm introduced to is the Peeper. It lets me catalog all the bugs I find. Each bug has their own creature card. The creature card tells me stuff like what kind of damage the bug is weak to, what items they drop, and what part of the yard I can find them in. When I'm searching for the last parts to make my armor, I somehow wander to one of the lasers and find the first of the 4 species of spider I'd encounter in this game, the Orb Weaver. I'm on the hardest difficulty, so I didn't take any chances and kept my distance. After returning from my search, I decided to fully plan out my base, so I placed down walls, a pallet to store pieces of grass, a lean-to to sleep in, and a basket to store my stuff. I know what I'm in for, so I need to get as ahead as I can. After I get all the pieces of my Clover Armor, I finally check out what was weakening one of the lasers. Turns out, there were lawn mites biting the wire. After killing all the mites, I find one of the many collectibles, Another scabby bracelet I'm wearing that shows my vitals. Collecting it gives me a bonus color scheme to use for the UI, but I'm fine with the default. Alright, activate.
My bad?
After that happened, I saw a pink orb in this pond. Collecting the orb rewarded me with raw science. That'll have a use later, but now I have to go to the oak tree to find out what that explosion was. I start my way over to the oak tree, only to get reminded of what game I'm playing.
That big spider! I don't think I'm high enough left to take on such a foe.
Ow. Ow. Respawning leaves me with only the stuff I'm wearing and holding in my hand. The rest is put into a backpack placed where I died. The stuff I have also gets damaged, and eventually I'll have to repair it. Knowing that I'm not strong enough to fight any spiders, I come up with a new plan. Grab my backpack and hope no spiders catch me. This works surprisingly well, as the only spider this time was an Orb Weaver Jr., whose attacks I can jump to dodge while I run away, and eventually they lose interest. On the other side of the tree, I find the second species of spider. Wolf spider. These guys are much stronger than orb weavers, and they have venom. Thankfully, they're nocturnal, so I don't have to worry about running into one while I'm exploring. Hearing what sounds like a spider snoring, which spiders can't do by the way, I simply move along past it. Eventually, I find a leaf that's smoking pink. Under the leaf is a strange metal tube, and I get the objective update to explore the lab.
Those look like idealized geometric shapes in that pink thing. They can't be real.
I have isolated the source of the particle irregularities. They appear to be a byproduct of the shrinking process. If I adjust the machine to account for their existence, it should be the key to the de-shrinking, expanding process. Burgle, please bring up the readings for the irregular covalent SNPI 42Z particle traces. Ugh, that name is going to get tiresome. And while you're at it, rename all references to the irregular covalent SMPI 42Z particle to raw science.
Order received. Raw science identified. Does it require cooking, flipping, or grilling?
No, none of those. Categorization.
That answer is not permitted, according to health code standards governing the handling of raw food items.
Black Ant Hill, okay. Whoa.
Come on, come on!
Get up.
System reboot in progress. Thanks for the helping hand. I am Burgle, acting science manager for this project. I am also a robot. I am sure this all must be very disorienting for you, but hopefully I can explain.
Burgle here worked with Dr. Wendell Tully, the guy who invented all the shrinking tech. But Tully's been missing for a few months, so he's not here anymore. Anyways, Burgle can help me get home, he just needs to repair the spacer. There's just one problem. He doesn't remember how. His memories got scrambled from the explosion, so we now have to find him data chips throughout the yard for him to remember how to do that. Those chips are going to be located in the other labs, but Burgle can only find one right now. The Hedge Lab. where Wendell studied spider webbing. In addition, Burgle also unlocked the ASL terminal, where he can give me quests to do for raw science. I can use the raw science to buy stuff from his shop, like new recipes or mutations. His shop will also expand anytime I find a memory chip. With my little raw science, I can't afford much, but I can buy the smithing station, a building that lets me upgrade my armor and weapons, so I have more defense or damage or durability. I need to find quartzite and marble to make that, and unfortunately I don't find any. I'm headed back to base and decided to take care of a few things before I went to the hedge. I wanted to make a canteen and a better weapon. To get the canteen, I needed grub hide. Grubs are found burrowing in the ground, and I have to dig them up with a shovel. When I do find a grub, I figure, hey, it can't hurt to get a few more, but it doesn't take me long to learn my lesson, that there's more than one thing that lives in the ground. Need 2 more grub hide. Yep. Wait.
Taking a gut one.
Ow.
Right where I left you.
Oh, and there was a field station right there.
Verbal transcription unit 89.4.14. Order number 80. Virgo, are you there? Yes, sir. It appears that the shrinking process has not overly affected my functionality. I do not know how this is possible. I previously believed that all the parts of my functional unit were required for operation, but apparently they were not. Perhaps that means I have some extra storage space. Haha, very philosophical. Do you feel anything else? No, everything appears to be the same. Though I have come to realize that this world is absolutely covered in filth. It is quite concerning. You may wish to wash your hands before returning to work.
Ow! Man, these things can jump. That sound was of all my armor breaking. Unlike most games, instead of broken items simply being removed from your inventory, a broken item becomes unusable until you repair it with the items it's made of. So since my armor is made of clover leaves, I need clover leaves to repair it. After grabbing my bag and fixing my armor, I looked for creatures I hadn't killed yet, but also were weak enough for me to kill. I found one. The red ant. These guys have been walking around me the whole time, and I finally decided to hit one. The worker ants aren't that strong, but if another ant sees you fighting an ant, they'll also attack you, and when you damage an ant enough, they just start running away, and then you either have to throw something at it, or catch up with it to finish it off. While looking around, I found a bombardier beetle that shoots acid out of its butt, and a burgle flag. This is one of Burgle's quests. There's flags around the map that I can raise for him. When I analyzed the red ant parts, they turned into a really strong club, but to make it, I need mandibles from soldier ants.
That's a soldier ant. Wow, you can really tell the difference from here.
Hi. This is a bad idea. Yep, that was a bad idea. I guess I should explain how blocking works in this game really quick. Basically, if you block normally, this guard bar will fill, and if it fills, then you get stunned. But if you start blocking the second the attack connects, you get a perfect block, and it can sometimes stop the enemies from attacking, and you don't take any damage. So anytime you see those sparks fly out, that means I did a perfect block. I did kill 2 soldier ants and got enough mandibles to make the Red Ant Club. While escaping, I performed my 20th perfect block and unlocked my first mutation. Mutations are like perks you get for doing tasks. Most of the time, you can unlock a better version of it for an increased effect by doing more of that task. So if the objective was to get 20 perfect blocks, the next one would be to do 60. This one I unlocked, Parry Master, gives me a stamina boost for every perfect block I do. Anyways, I crafted the Red Ant Club and walked towards the hedge. I didn't really enter the hedge as I was chased into it, but I got into one of the branches via a pair of garden shears.
The Kinder Science lab modules have not held up as well as anticipated. I thought hiding these lab units in the hedge would provide a bit of protection from my rampaging children. But it appears not even the sanctuary of these leaves can protect my work from an errant flingman disc. The subsequent breaches in the lab structures have invited all manner of arachnid invaders to wander.
Yep, that was a horrible
My plan
idea.
is to recalibrate the tasty box for defensive action. A stopgap solution, to be sure, but I've no time for repairs, not when I'm so close to unlocking the mysteries of raw science.
Using some zip lines Wendell put up, I'm able to get further into the hedge and even find a few more tapes.
Today, Trudy asked, or rather insisted, I take a break from my work for a family day. I'll admit, the argument that preceded my reluctant agreement was one for the ages. She just doesn't understand how important the work is. But in the end, all was not lost. As fate would have it, our little trip to Stormin' Beach's Wave Park has given me fresh inspiration. A particular attraction sported a zip line over an undulating pool filled with sun-baked tubers, basking in the light of the cruel sun that baked them like red raisins. But I digress. It was the zip line that captured my imagination. Such an elegant solution to my problems in the hedge. When we got home, it was straight back to work. After another argument, of course.
Of course. After finally making it inside the lab, I find the super chip behind a door that needs a password, and the note that has the password is all ripped up. So, guess I gotta go find those. While looking around the lab, I find these Tasty robots. They're not that strong, so I can kill them pretty easily, but strangely, they drop raw science. But they're robots, so I guess that makes sense. Unfortunately, I got overwhelmed by all the spiderlings and robots, and I died. Respawning at a point I set, I realized my club was broken and I didn't have anything to repair it with. While on my way back to the lab, I spotted a satellite dish attached to a lab module.
Verbal transcription unit 87.10.25. Order number 63.
I find it a wonder that the Burgle Mark IVs never caught on. I believe them to be far superior to the Mark IIIs. Those never lived up to my expectations.
That lever just activated the resource surveyors, the radio-looking things in all the field stations. So now, any area around a field station, I can scan for any item I've analyzed. This easily saves tons of time that I would spend searching for things in probably completely wrong areas. As for the rest of the hedge lab, I just looked around until I found all the pieces of the code. How do I fill these things in my inventory? Anyways, I also found this milk molar. That's basically an upgrade point, but I'll get into that in a minute. In we go.
It is likely that this will be my last log from the hedge lab. Regrettably, the spider infestation has only worsened. Last night, I had a close encounter with a giant brood mother that shook me to my core.
Whoa.
Couple that with the strange radio signals I've been receiving, and I no longer think this facility is safe.
Burgle here. Can I start you off with a double charred barbarian bacon burger? It's made the Roby's way.
Burgle, initiate evacuation protocols for the Hedge Lab.
Yeah.
Make sure any remaining biometric scanners and passcodes are encrypted in the mainframe.
Is that really necessary, sir?
Yes. Oh, yes. Absolutely necessary.
Well,
We're being watched.
when I got back to base, I looked into the Milk Molar program now on the ASL terminal. It lets me upgrade my attributes like max stamina or health, but my favorite part is the sound it makes. I set up my base with all the new stuff I got, like the spinning wheel to get silk rope, a dew collector to get easier water, and a smithing station to upgrade my stuff. I upgraded my red ant club because that thing is stupidly powerful right now, and went to sleep. The next day, I went to give Burgle his chip, and I ran into an orb weaver again. With my ant club now reinforced, doing a percentage of more damage, I decided to take a chance and see if I could beat it. Stay down, you 8-legged monster. With that boosting confidence, I decided to try and fight a ladybug. Sort of. I figured out a strategy that might make fighting it easier. See, one of the ladybug's aspects is charging towards me. But if the spider gets in the way... Yeah! This is a win-win for me. After one of the bugs hits the other bug, all I have to do is wait for one of them to die, then slip in and finish the other off. I don't think I get as many looting items as I do if I had just killed it normally, but I still get items at all, and that's good enough for me. Bang! Thanks, buddy. After that, I went back to the lab and used another item I found at the hedge. The duper disc. It powers up the super duper, which duplicates items for an amount of raw science depending on how rare the item is or how complicated it is. It does have a maximum, but I can use other discs at the labs to increase that maximum.
Can I help you
Good morning,
today?
Burgle. Got something good for you.
Huh. You made it back in one piece. How unexpected. You are more resourceful than I thought.
Thanks for the confidence in me.
Hand it over and we can see what data Dr. Tully backed up upon it. Processing, this is the Hedge Super Chip. Forgive me, I forgot to mention the nasty spiders before I sent you up there. I hope they were not too much trouble. Haha.
Eh, they weren't actually. Honestly, I sold all of them with my axe.
Ah. I am feeling much more like myself. Take it from me, there's nothing quite like a reverse lobotomy. Thank you.
Okay.
Now, what is it you were wanting to know? Oh, there are 4 labs throughout the yard, each with a super chip. The Hedge Lab, the Pond Lab, the Haze Lab, and the Black Ant Lab. And you have already made it through the hedge. So now on to the others. I will mark the location. Please find them and return. Oh, before you leave, check out the new recipes in the Ask Away, my...
Alright, nice. With that expansion to the shop, I bought a mutation that increased my max health and the zipline blueprints. I asked about the other labs. There's 4 more of them. There's the Pond Lab at the bottom of the pond, the Haze Lab inside the giant gas cloud southwest, and the giant Black Anthill Lab beyond the haze. Actually, I made a mistake. There's 4 total labs, not 4 more labs. Anyways, after that, I go back home to analyze the ladybug parts to go make the ladybug armor recipe. It's the best armor available to me right now, and it's some of the best armor in the game. I decided to get that before I go to any of the other labs. I would start that the next day, so I finished building the dew collector, then went to sleep. What? What? What's this? I don't remember this. Hominin.
Please don't move and look straight ahead. I promise you won't feel a thing.
What? What do you mean, won't feel a thing?
It's a go for molecular reduction. Spacer is primed.
Where you are going, all your worries will seem so small.
Don't humor me.
A nightmare? No, a vision. And I remember every bit of it. An ominous logo and a fancy spacer. A spacer that was pointed directly at me. This changes everything. Maybe Burgle will understand what's going on.
I didn't feel like talking to Burgle yet, so I just made a bow and harvested a bunch of berries that I need for the armor. The surveyors made it a lot easier, but it still took me all day to get the full set. The next day, I focused on getting the tier 2 axe and hammer. I just needed to wait for the resources to make the axe to finish being made, but for the hammer, I need stink bug parts. There's a big problem with that. Stink bug attacks make clouds of toxic gas that will kill me in a few seconds without a gas mask. You might think, oh, so just make a gas mask then. Well, yes, but actually no. See, for some reason, to make the gas mask, you need stink bug parts. So I'm stuck in a catch-22 here. Or so I thought. But I had an idea. A group of stink bugs just so happens to be right next to the red anthill. All I have to do is lure one over to the anthill and trick it into hitting one of the ants, and the ants should clean it up for me. The plan was to hit a stink bug with an arrow and lure it over to the anthill. It took a few tries since they kept either killing me, getting stuck, losing interest, or doing stuff like this. I wore armor that made sure that the ants wouldn't attack me, and eventually, run for the hill. Hey y'all, we got a bit of a problem. Like a giant stink bug sized problem. Attack! Now, while you're doing that, I'm gonna go down here and see what's down here. I went into the anthill to see if there was anything inside, and there wasn't much except for red ants and ant eggs. I grabbed a few of the eggs to see what I could use them for, but grabbing eggs angers the ants, so I had to run away. Turns out the ant eggs turn into bombs, but I need fungal growth for those, and I don't know how to get that, so I think the best thing to do now would be to trash them before they hatch. I checked in on my stink bug plan to see if it worked, and turns out it didn't really. I don't know what it was, but the stink bug's body was nowhere to be seen, and the only thing that was there was all the ants that had died. So at least I got their body parts. Since the gas mask idea was a bust, I switched objectives to the pond lab. My first thing to do was to set up a water base that was easy to get to. I had a pretty crazy idea. I had unlocked ziplines from the hedge super chip. So what if I just made a giant tower that I could zipline from to get to the pond? So I started making a big tower. It took a while, so enjoy some time lapse.
Hello, Mr. B. If I follow you, will you lead me to honey or to an early grave?
Huh. Now was the problem of actually figuring out where my base would be. If I put it to the right, I'd have to deal with the mosquitoes, and if I put it to the left, I'd have to deal with orb weavers. I eventually decided on building it to the left since the right was more blocked, so it was more likely something would get in my way while I was ziplining, and it was also slightly easier to get grass to the left rather than the right. On my way down, I found a feather that came from the crow that flies around every once in a while. I can make it into a crossbow and a bed. the things I can make out of animal body parts. I built a zipline anchor and connected it with no issue. The only thing left to do was to get silk rope for the actual line, which isn't that bad. It's just gonna take a while since I have to spin out each piece individually on my spinning wheel. While waiting for that, I try the stink bug and ant strat again, this time staying above ground, and hey, would you look at that, it actually worked. I made the gas mask. I placed down a few blueprints for my water base and finally dove into the pond. Immediately, I saw another flying disc, so that makes 2 now. Looking around more, I found more interesting creatures like these spider. Okay, are you serious? Are there spiders in the water? Is there anywhere in this stupid yard that doesn't have spiders? Anyways, most of my tools don't work underwater, including my harvesting tools. To get the eel grass I need for pretty much everything, I needed a dagger. I figured I could kill 2 weevils with 1 pebble and make a spider fang dagger for both a weapon and a dagger. I needed wolf spider parts for it, but I was sure it was gonna be worth it. Looking back, I spent so much time making something to kill the wolf spider, it would have been easier to just get the pebblet dagger that you're actually supposed to use. But no, I told myself, the spider fang dagger is more useful in the long run. No joke, I spent half an hour getting the materials to make the weapon the wolf spider is weak to, only to barely use it in the fights. I'll cut to the chase. Here's how my first fight went. Ow.
I've been poisoned!
Come on. No, I was so close. Okay, I can definitely do this. It's definitely possible. Okay, so that wasn't that bad. The big problem in this fight is the wolf spider's poison. Unless you perfectly block the attack, the wolf spider's attacks are gonna poison you. This will damage you with next to nothing you can actually do about it, but something I found happened way too often was that I'd be doing actually fine in the fight, then just die to the poison that I got inflicted with at the beginning. You wanna know the funny part? There's a mutation that reduces poison damage, but to get it, you have to kill wolf spiders. So cut out almost an hour of fighting wolf spiders, repairing broken stuff, and then running back to die all over again, and then I just cave in and decide to make the stupid pebblet dagger. Finally going back into the pond, I did find tadpoles and these frogs called water boatmen for some reason. After crafting a tube for longer breathing, I find the depth's mouth, where I'll go to find the pond lab, but I'm chased by a diving bell spider before I'm able to go down. Oh yeah, and there's an invincible giant koi fish that casually swims around and one-shots you if you touch it. It's mostly out of the way, thankfully, so I just head to the depths with a sea lantern and find the lab. I do drown before figuring anything out, but since it was nearby, I went around to the Oak Lab and finally talked to Burgle about that dream I had.
Hello there! How can I help you today? I'm afraid Dr. Tully did not program me for dream analysis, but I will do my best. Was it perhaps about electric beef? I have always wanted to have that dream. Why don't you describe your dream? Aha! That confirms it. There are 2 spacers, just as Dr. Tully surmised. One in the yard and one at Eminent. He had a hunch that they continued his work on the spacer after he stopped working. It all computes. I do not believe these are just dreams. These are surely your memory, but perhaps so. Eminent shrunk you. I am pretty sure you are not an Eminent secret agent. I was JKing. So if you are not an Eminent agent, why would they be shrinking children? Surely I have no idea. Yet another puzzle for us to solve. On the plus side, your memories must. How can I be a. Aha!
Okay. Returning to the depths, I did my best to avoid combat to not waste oxygen. What I didn't realize is when you kill an underwater creature, you get a burst of oxygen. So fighting is actually a necessity for exploring underwater. After a bit longer, I thought of something. If a spider was attacking me, and I went in the water, it left me alone. But what if I did that with the wolf spider? Could I just kill it without it being able to fight back? Well, not really. Okay, yeah, this is interesting. Whoa. And he fell. Bug loot was water you got. Dang it. Feeling pretty cheated, I went back to fighting the wolf spider again. This time, I tried running away when my health got too low and coming back to fight again. This worked better, but I still died. Then I realized a field station was right where I was fighting the spider. So I could just respawn there when I died and run out and start fighting again before it could heal. I died again doing this, breaking almost all my armor, but somehow... Come on. Hunt or be hunted. Mythodorism. What's that do? Sorry. The spider didn't give me enough parts to make the dagger, but I just wanted to do something else, so I just duplicated the part I needed to duplicate. Returning to the depths again, I found a separate part of the lab and a passage back to the top of the pond. I made a bubble helmet for even more oxygen, and on my next trip, I found another section of the lab, and this one had a switch to turn on power. Now I had to flip 3 breakers to open the big hatch to the actual main pond lab. All the breakers weren't that hard to get with my bubble helmet, and the big hatch opened up. The lab itself was honestly pretty boring. I just had to find the terminal to open the door to the room with the super chip in it. Again. I'm the pond super chip.
Dr. Applebaum has pronounced me in perfect health. For a man 20 years my senior. I must face the facts. The gray hairs, the wrinkles, they are not figments of the imagination.
What?
I can draw only one reasonable conclusion. It is the elusive fractional errors of the shrinking process which are the cause. Trudy has asked that I discontinue my experiments, but what choice do I have? If I quit now, I will have nothing. What will I be other than a failed inventor and scientist with no discoveries to his name, unable even to teach the basics of physics to a gaggle of hormonal teenagers? No! If this means that I must sacrifice 20 years of my life, then so be it.
Okay.
Taking a look.
Pond Dome. So this is the thing I saw. Super chip.
I wonder how we'll get Burgle's memories off of this.
Fight with Trudy.
I wonder if I have to blow on it. That you...
Alright. Open up. Pond Dome. Ready? Oh, that hatch is open finally. Oh, a bunch of hatches are open.
Dr. Tully must be one heck of an engineer to be able to build something like this.
Oh, these are muscle sprouts, eh? I need to get that. Okay, so I didn't find...
This time you've gone too far, Wendell Tully. You've done the unthinkable, trespassed the unforgivable. You missed Thanksgiving dinner.
Oh.
Who can blame Trudy? I know that I pushed things to the breaking point and that she has grit her teeth and borne it. She told me that she could not bear to watch me destroy my life, let alone hers, the children's, in single-minded pursuit of this technology. Never in all the years of knowing her has she given me such a cold, immovable ultimatum. My science or my family. But if only she could see. I am doing this for them. understand it has been hard. It has been harder on no one more than myself. If only I had more time. If I could just prove to them the wonders that are so close now, they would understand, wouldn't they? And if they did not, perhaps they never understood me at all.
Oh. I went back to Burgle and gave him the chip, and with it, he's able to find out what the problem is with the spacer. The cell that controls growing had some sort of failure, so we have to replace it. Good news, Burgle has a spare cell. The bad news, the cell is empty. It has to be filled with some kind of special cocktail that can make me big again, but the recipe for that is on a different super chip. This is probably one of the more least useful super chips, so I just go home. The good thing about the labs is that I have a bunch of rocks I need for reinforcements, so I made a bunch of those and went to sleep. Oh, we are having another dream. What the?
Body mass readout is an acceptable range. The skin fold degradation is minimal.
Specimen vitals are stable and holding.
Specimen?
Looks like we've done it.
Great job, everyone. Let's set up 3 more trials for replication.
Sorry to crash your
There's
party.
3 other
The
people.
Defense Department has arrived early to discuss Project Orc. The director needs you to be present at the meeting.
Not sure what's worse, our director or a 3-hour meeting with the military.
3 other trials. There's 3 other teens.
More nightmare visions. I was the subject of a nefarious science experiment? But to what end? Orcs are minions of Lurk and Shriek. The quest becomes even more mysterious.
Oh, and if you were wondering, the muscle sprouts can be used to make smoothies that I haven't mentioned until now. Smoothies are basically just potions that give you bonus effects, and muscle sprouts make them give you extra health when I drink them. Anyways, I put on my gas mask and went into the haze. The surrounding creatures, like the mites, ladybugs, and larvae alike, are all infected by a mushroom. It makes them more dangerous because now they can just explode. While I'm looking around the lab, I found this nozzle that leads to a can of weed killer that seems to be spewing out the haze. I get to the top, and turns out if I bring a piece of gum there, I can plug it up and get rid of the gas. I can't get that yet, but I'll be back. From the top of the can, I can spot the entrance to the lab, and I glide over. Unfortunately, I need a bomb to get the door open. Thankfully, this fungus is the last thing I needed, so I just needed an ant egg. When I was grabbing one, I found something amazing. The Red Ant Queen. I have different offerings I can give her, which are different sandwiches that can either poison or lie with her. I don't have either of them, and I don't have the recipe for them, so I'll come back later. Anyways, back to the bomb. Run. Fire in the hole. What the?
Trudy was right, as always. Perhaps she should have been the inventor and not me. I should have listened to her when she insisted that I stop the experiments. But if I pack it up now, I will have nothing to show for it. No Trudy and the kids, no spacer, not even my own health. The longer I'm here, the more I'm lumping up, aging, folding, raisening. But why? What am I becoming? A wrinkly virus, flailing helplessly in the dirt with the mushrooms. They are my family now. Though we only branched on the evolutionary tree a little over 1 billion years ago, I can feel us getting closer again already. We're all a bunch of fun guys down here, aren't we? Oh, don't look at me like that. At least no one ever heard of a raisin mushroom,
So now it's revealed that shrinking has a side effect called raisening. It causes you to shrivel up and look like a raisin. a bit on the nose there, Tully, but I digress. He apparently attempted to reverse this by using the ageless properties of mushrooms, but as you can tell by these exploding weevils, that didn't exactly work out. Part of the lab is underwater, and to get through it, I need a tier 2 dagger. Fortunately, my Spider Fang dagger does have the quality of a tier 2 dagger. Only problem, if it breaks, I can't repair it. And it broke, so I just replaced it with this other tier 2 dagger, the bone dagger. Wow, after all that work fighting the wolf spider, it turns out to barely be usable. I find the door I need to find and finally encounter my first boss.
Taking a look.
Oh, infected ladybug.
Interesting. The fungus is making the insects hostile.
What tipped you off? Whoa. Okay. Whoa, they hit hard. Look at this guy. See the mice? Okay, I gotta take out the mice. These guys are gonna be the most important part. Oh wait, I realized. Ow. Okay, it doesn't seem to have that much more health. Just gotta avoid the mice, man. Okay. Oh great, and the larvae somehow in there. Okay. What? Okay, yeah, I lost pretty badly, but I've been spending so much time on this, so I came back to it later. I decided to walk past the area of the haze, and I found black ants. These are the guys I need to make a better shield, and eventually I found this spot that they stored their food at, or something, and I killed a bunch of them. With their black ant parts, I unlocked the black ant shield and their shovel. To make them, I needed mandibles, so I was gonna have to find their anthill. But now, my spider dagger broke again, and I couldn't reinforce it, which is what I did earlier to repair it. I tried to fight a wolf spider again with the new armor that helps with stamina, and I think you know how that turned out. Anyways, my next try went a lot better, and I actually killed 2 in a row. I went back to the infected ladybug, re-equipped with my dagger, and started learning a bit more about it. There are these mites that constantly spawn in, and their spit will make me more weak to the explosions around the room. And there are a lot of explosions. The problem is that the mites are really strong for whatever reason, and they barely take any damage, even though I have a dagger that they are weak to. My next try went better, but I was so focused on the mites, I didn't actually have any time to hit the ladybug. And now's the time I might have to admit something. I used reloads to attempt this boss over and over again. I know, it's technically saves coming, but this lets me get to know the boss and strategies for the boss in a way that doesn't make me want to break my desk in half. I didn't mention this, but getting items to repair the armor and weapons I have is the single most irritating part of this game. If I didn't load saves, all that would probably be different is that I'd have about 12 hours of me getting repair items that I wouldn't even mention in this video. And if you still think I should have done it, by all means, I invite you to play WoW mode with no loading saves. Do it yourself. Each time I learn something more, like get rid of the spores at the beginning so you don't have to back into them when dodging the ladybug shots that have these explosives, and that when she loses a bar of health, larvae spawn. After over 20 deaths, you know what ends up working? Throwing my club at the ladybug and running away from everything else. Yes, that's how I beat this boss I spent over an hour on. Yeah! Okay. Trouble tussle. Okay, I can kill mice. ID for disc 3. I think that's the last one.
This has gone poorly. Very, very poorly. The essence of failure, the pinnacle of its craft.
Hey, super chick.
Local fauna? Berserk! Mushrooms? Exploding! My condition? Like a baby toe after a long bath. Burgle, are you there?
Is this a test?
Yes, Burgle, it's a test. Now listen carefully. I'm abandoning this facility immediately. Initiate the Blazed Earth Protocol.
But Dr. Tully, simulations indicate a 95.283% probability of catastrophic failure.
I assure you the percentages are much higher than that. Now do it.
Beep beep boop, beep 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 boop.
Why did you make fake beeping sounds?
You said this was a test.
I was being sarcastic. Ugh. Complete the lab lockdown, blast the canister per protocol, and meet me in the Black Ant Lab.
Giving Burgle the chip, a piece of the cocktail recipe is revealed, but I need the last chip to remember the whole thing. With all the new stuff in the shop, I unlocked stuff like an oven and one of the offerings for the Red Ant Queen. With all this new stuff, I start working on a second floor of my house to fit all this stuff on. Alright, well, let's see what dream we have this time.
Dr. Schmechter, these...
Director.
Director Schmechter. These specimens are the breakthrough we've been looking for. Just
Specimens
like
again.
We're close to eliminating the raising problem. Our team was up all night recalibrating the spacer.
I see. Of course, my hypothesis was correct. I hope all of you remember this moment the next time you question my methods. Now then, what progress has been made on covalent space expansion? How did Dr. Wendell Tully, a lifetime failure, best the brightest minds at Ominent?
I'm surprised he didn't say the brightest mind of Ominent.
We're still working on that formula. I know it's been months, but the Embiggen process is far more complicated and dangerous than we predicted.
Ugh. Too bad for you, little ones. Prepare the specimens for termination.
Termination?
This isn't what I signed up for.
What the heck?
Another vision, and another piece of the puzzle falls into place. This Director Schmechter was the person experimenting on me. But why? The scientists mentioned something called raising. Could this be connected to Dr. Tully? Maybe Burgle knows more.
Hello there! How can I help you today? How can I be of assistance? Raisoning is an advanced form of dehydration and an unfortunate side effect of the shrinking process on humans. It appears to become worse with each subsequent use of the spacer. Even without prolonged use, it is a degenerative malady that has no cure at this moment. At the time of his disappearance, Dr. Tully himself was keenly experiencing the side effects of raisoning and was actively working on a solution. That research is currently on hold. Good news for you, however. Ocular analysis indicates a normal number of folds on your face for a human of your age. Director Schmechter, the head of the science division, oversaw Dr. Tully's projects at Ominent.
Okay.
Dr. Tully's disdain for Director Schmechter was even more than his disdain for soggy French fries. They had many disagreements over the years over the direction of the science division. If Schmechter is involved with this, I can assure you he is up to no good. That is what Dr. Tully would say. I have never met the chap and so must reserve judgment. How can I help you today? Have a great day!
Back at base, I had even more space to put stuff down, including a piece of cookery that I never used, and an oven that I used a lot. Unfortunately, I can't get the coal for the oven, so I had to find it. In an effort to, I went to the edge of the yard with black ants, and I found the shovel propped up with a cracked rock. Look out, look out, look out! That worked. This shovel allows me onto the picnic table, where there's a jar of honey the bees treat as a hive, so they are aggressive if I get too close to it. I couldn't figure out how to get up there, then I got distracted by this giant lawn gnome, then I got distracted again by a hole in this stone wall. This is the upper yard ascent, and as the name implies, it lets me ascend to the upper yard. Oh, wait, and if you thought this game was close to being over, as I'm writing this script, I still have almost 40 hours of footage left. Anyways, after I climb up the roots, I immediately see a giant roly-poly, as well as a worse version of the larvas that burn you with their bite. They're called ladybird larvas. Looking to my left, I see a giant barbecue that's tipped over. I bet that's where I got the coal. It's like... Oh wait, aw shoot. Wolf spiders are nocturnal.
The mighty adventurer looks over the molten wasteland. Boulders of fire block the path to the highlands beyond.
Whoa, whoa.
Bravely, she sets forth over ash and brimstone.
Whoa, okay.
Burning up!
So if I go over there, I am literally cooked. Since I'm unable to pass the coal without being grilled, I settle for the picnic table. I climb up a pile of books onto a cooler box that I use as a weight to get onto the big table. There's not much up here except for a field station and a game of minotaurs and myrmidons. There's a chip inside of this chest at the end of the maze, but I need a key for it. Most importantly, there's a zip line that connects to the sandbox, which is where one of the entrances to the final lab is. Since all of this is so far away, I wanted to get a pet aphid. All you need to do to get one is to feed an aphid 2 or 3 plant slurries, and they'll give you a speed boost. Eat it up. If this isn't the same aphid, then... Hey, new pet! Hey there, buddy.
Who's a good aphid? You're a good aphid, yes you are. Yes you are.
I made my pet a black ant helmet so he doesn't die, but later I learned I needed a pet house to have him actually equip it. So I take him outside, like, what's the worst that could happen? Okay, actually, now that I've done it. I didn't realize that hard mode was the only mode without pet invincibility on, so my pet aphid was blown up before I could even think of a name. I set his memorial in the corner, and I head for a garbage heap next to the sandbox, since Burgle also mentioned that an entrance to the final lab being there. But the garbage smells so bad, I need a gas mask to even get close to it. I also made these armor stands where I can put all the armor I retired. Anyways, I went back to the garbage can, and there was a soldier ant there, so that means I'm close to the anthill. While scouring through the bin, I found a mega milk molar for upgrades for everyone in your group, and a battery that powers the lab, with a tape on it.
Supplemental log, Ominent Practical Technologies, Tully. Oh, whatever, I'll sort it later. The important thing is I have done it! Success! The spacer has worked its magic. I have successfully shrunk a set of basic plastic polyhedral dice from the size of standard dice to no bigger than the size of, well, much smaller dice. Burgle, make a note to come up with a better comparison. You did it, nonetheless. This is a complete exoneration. However, it occurs to me that I have a new problem. The dice were intended to be young Foe's Christmas present. He will be disappointed. But perhaps I can convince him that they were miniature dice. The tiny instructions might be a bit of a giveaway. A new solution may be required. To the Fun Pit Toy Mart before they close.
In the bin, there was a candy. Smashing it gives me spicy shards. These are used for infusing my weapons with other elements, so they deal more kinds of damage. For example, some enemies are weak to spicy damage. These spicy shards can infuse my weapons via the smithing station to make them deal spicy damage. I didn't really use this that much, but I figured I'd mention it.
Ominent Practical Technologies, Dr. Wendell Tully, Science... Oh, scratch that. Dr. Wendell Tully, PhD. At least they can't fire me from that. My years of work on the spacer mattered little to Ominent. The project was shut down and I was shown the door. And yet Kaminsky still works there, and he's an idiot. I've been reduced to substitute teaching at the local school.
Oh.
How many times can one person be expected to explain the difference between a vector and a scalar? If it has direction, then it's a scalar. I mean, a vector. I swear the ignorance around me is contagious. Does that normal teacher do anything? No wonder my inventions cannot be appreciated. Our society no longer understands science.
I found the anthill descent and just jumped in. I was expecting to have to run through the whole thing. Turns out the worker ants only care if I attack them, so I was able to walk through much of the lab without too much trouble. I didn't want to go down there yet, since my inventory was full, but when I got back, I did have the soldier ant mandibles that I needed to make the black ant shovel. I could dig up chewed gum, that gave me gum nuggets, which, if you remember, is the thing I needed to plug up that haze canister. By the power vested in this piece of gum, I banish these toxins from this land! Plugging up the haze is actually a bit of a trade-off. There is no more haze, so I don't need to bring my gas mask every single time I leave. But there's a reason Tully cracked open the canister. It was to contain the fungus. And I just undid that, so the fungus is going to be in more places of the yard. It's still worth it, though. Anyways, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, the lab. I found wires that ran along the ceiling, and looked where it led me. Black ant.
Within the subterranean depths of the endless caverns, they found a most peculiar.
We get it, Pete. You like D&D. Oh, come on. Dropping bombs. Inside of the lab, I found a terminal that unlocks Sector A, since there's a security lockdown happening. To which I wonder why Tully would bother installing security measures for a lab that only he and Burgle could reach.
Burgle, I'd like to summarize the results of today's mixer trials.
Ready to take your dictation!
Trials 1 and 2 were aborted due to mechanical failure. Now, Trial 3. Trial 3 was interesting. Wait, Burgle, what is that?
It looks like a gathering of ants!
Well, I can see that, but what... Shut down the facility! Close the blood! It appears that the mixer has agitated some of the local fauna, so... That's enough for today.
Under siege, eh? Oh, I guess that's why. I keep going and find the sector clearance unlocker machine thing that opens the room with the chip. I thought this was the end of the lab and it was a lot shorter than the other ones, but I didn't know what was waiting for me in the last room. Okay, so this cracked glass. Well, you know what that means. You know, and what we do when we see something broken, we blow it up. Oh, security breach. Deploy management squad.
We're pretty good friends with Burgle. Maybe we can talk this out?
Assistant manager. Whoa, okay. Okay, this is not what I signed up for. I signed up to come in and bust open some ants. I got to his third phase, but I was incredibly underprepared, so I left to go get my stuff. I came back with my repaired stuff, but I couldn't even get back to his third phase. Over a ton of attempts, I learned a few things. First, get rid of the arcers. You don't want to get hit by their stamina reducing shock while you're trying to hit the manager. Second, when the lasers come up, don't bother trying to head towards the manager. Just focus on surviving, and if the manager comes by, that's when you hit him. Up, up. I'd like to speak to your manager. Shocking dismissal. Okay, 4-4, management not found. This was honestly easier than the infected ladybug. It only took me around a dozen tries to beat. I get the key card that allows me to access the rest of the lab with the final chip. Also, I've been playing practically all day, so my mind was starting to deteriorate. Burgle, your cousin is a jerk. Super chip, that's what I like to see. Heck frickin' yeah.
The production of raw science concentrate has been, for better or worse, spread across the yard. Given the unseen hands that move against me, it seems that no precaution is too much. No suggestion from my paranoid psyche too preposterous. What a pathetic state of affairs. Overrun by an enraged ant colony, and here I stand, naked, to the unblinking eyes spying upon my every move. Layers of abandonment and failure, like a frumpy, naked failure onion. But who sheds a tear for us, Burgle? Is it the onlookers in the shadows? Is it whomever stumbles upon our toilings down here in the muck? This should please you all. Dr. Wendell Tully, humbled again. Well, enjoy your laughs, cruel winds of fate. But this onion has one more stink left to make. And sorry, old friend, but I'm going it alone. Deleting data stores and running lab lockdown procedures. Wendell out.
So this was definitely... Well, that's been an event. After that, I head back to the oat lab to get hit by the consequences of plugging up the haze. What that?
Got one!
Infected wolf spider.
Hey, Sasquatch! You're in the way!
Hey, Sasquatch, you're in the way. Well, okay, so the wolf spider is now awake during the daytime. What's in here? The zipper. A simple rotary apparatus that utilizes aphid torque power to speed both up and down. Oh, so I can go up zip lines now. I hand over the last chip, and turns out the third of the 4 ingredients for the embiggening cocktail is toenails. Gross. What's the last ingredient? We don't know. Tully decided to wipe that from Burgle's memory, and the only way to figure it out would be to ask Tully himself. Luckily, Burgle is able to track Tully's Scabby to his favorite chair, by the shed, on the other side of the map. He tells me to find it and repair it so he can track where Tully is. That means that I have to go through the barbecue spill and the hot coals. Burgle also asked me to add this new fuse to his Scabby because apparently, for some reason, it's not working. The last super chip gave me a bunch of new recipes too, like upgraded whetstones and plating, making brittle reinforcements craftable with creature parts, and a glue masher that I'll mention later. With one final lab, I get one final dream.
Alright, here they are. All tucked in with the outfits and backpacks they were snatched in. As requested, they're strapped and synced with scabbies for whatever they might run into down there. You do realize the director will have our heads if he finds out we're removing company property?
Can you sleep at night with what this company is doing? We need to do something.
Is Dr. Tully even alive? The field team reported him missing months ago. You are prolonging the inevitable.
Wendell, wherever he is the only hope for these kids. I'll make the delivery to his yard discreetly. No one is even going to know.
I hope you know what you're doing.
That's the case I came in.
The vision is complete. I now know the origin of the briefcase and how Tiny Pete came to be.
How Tiny Pete...
Things are sort of, maybe just a little bit, making some sense. And knowledge is a beacon in the dark, brave traveler.
He's calling himself Brave Traveler now. Now that I have sturdy plating, I can choose 2 upgrade paths for my armor. Bulky, that just gives more raw defense, and Sleek, that gives less defense but a special status effect. The Ladybug armor gives increased healing, so I decided to make them sleek. Now they can't be repaired the same way for some reason. Now they need repair glue that I can make by feeding the Glue Masher creature parts. This is actually 1,000 times better. Now I can choose what repairs my armor instead of having to hunt ladybugs to the point of extinction. I went back to the picnic table, finished the zipline to the sandbox. So I can ride up and down ziplining now. Sweet.
From the top of the Crab Red Rocks, Tiny Pete looked out across the endless expanse of the dunes, dotted with the husks of long-dead creatures. What treasure might await him in this sandy graveyard?
This land also has that sizzle thing, but thankfully, it moves a lot slower. Oh yeah, and there's antlions that just pop out of the sand to snap me in half. I'm able to find an oasis that has water that cools me down, but I need to kill these antlions because they make the armor that reduces sizzle. Unfortunately, they are the first hostile tier 3 enemy I've come across. So they have a crap ton of health, but what I learned this far, with enough hits, anything will die. It only drops 1 part, which is bad because I need 14 parts to make the armor. I kill another one that drops pincers and a few more parts, but I can tell how long this is gonna take. So I run straight through the charcoal and barely survive. Now that I'm in the upper yard, it's time to see all the treasures that await me. Treasures such as a massive dirt bike that can climb to reach the porch. Since charging it with no preparation has worked well for me the last few times, I head straight for the Scabby. I use a bat to get onto the chair and glide to the side table. Unfortunately, it seems I need a tier 3 busting tool to get the slot open that I put the fuse in. I started working on the zipline anchor to get up here without having to go through the barbecue spell. I unfortunately didn't have enough silk rope, so I go back to the sandbox in the evening to kill some antlions so I don't have to almost die every time I run past the coals. While searching, I find another lab with a miscellaneous chip with more recipes, including the Black Ant Queen Friendship Offering and flavor globs that give my weapons elemental damage. After giving that to Burgle, I was back to the desert to farm antlions. It was incredibly tedious just because if I didn't block every single attack, I'd just die. I should mention that I really wasn't kidding when I said my mind was starting to deteriorate. I was actually starting to feel my brain falling apart from playing this game for a full week. So much so that this is what I sounded like when I booted up the game for the 8th day in a row. Alright. I'm back. And I'm tired of this game. I'll spare you the 40 minutes I spent farming antlions and say I got enough parts. But now, I have the armor that makes me look like a Western desperado, and I have a much higher sizzle tolerance now. Even though I don't burn up immediately, I still need to work fast. It isn't super difficult, just jump out to cool down once the bar is mostly full. I also finish up the 3rd zipline anchor and just have to connect it. I return to base and finally make the oven. It cooks stuff. I use it to make the Red Ant Queen's offering first. There are 3 sandwiches you can feed each ant queen. The Yummy Sandwich, that gives you their pheromone and the ability to make that species passive. The Poison Sandwich, that gives you extra loot, like upgrades and the queen's body parts. And the 3rd option is an Infected Sandwich, just the poison one, but changes the New Game Plus that I don't plan on doing. Yet. I don't know why I'm explaining this to you. I just have to go grab the ingredients to make the sandwich. Everlasting Hobstopper? That's a trinket. That is the Everlasting Hogstopper. It's a trinket that's like a charm that gives you special effects. What does it do? It slowly fills your hunger bar. That's it. I just never have to worry about food again. I don't have to waste time looking for food. I don't have to wait for food to cook. All I need is water. This trinket is OP and only drops 1% of the time, and I got it by pure accident. Anyways, I make the sandwich for the red ant queen. I wasn't sure what I was gonna do. There's only one way to find out. There she is. You can only submit an offering to the ant queen once, are you sure? Yeah. Yay. Baby red ant. Aw. A pet. Aw. So can I... Oh, I can now take these. Okay, red ant pheromones. So giving her the sandwich gave me the ant ambassador mutation that makes all red ants passive. She also gave me a baby red ant to have as a pet. These egg sacs also gave me her pheromone, which I'll get to later. When I get home, I make sure to build my pet ant a pet house. Especially with the weaker pets, I don't want another one of my pets to die, so I just let him stay around my vase. I didn't really need his buff anyway, so I look at what I can do with the pheromones I got, and turns out they can become a scepter that helps summoned creatures. I do not have any summoned creatures. I really only needed the advance on the ant ambassador mutation, and I'll explain why later. Anyways, after that long sidetrack, I now have enough silk to build the zipline to the upper yard. Now with easy access, I start exploring more. I find a ladybird that's just an aggressive ladybug, and the final species of ant, the fire ant. What's the difference between red and fire ants? The fire ants can spit acid, because that makes sense. I look around close to the barbecue spill and just so happen upon a scarab. These elusive little guys are needed to make the best weapon upgrades in the game, but if they notice you, they'll burrow and you can't find them after that. Also by the barbecue spill, I find the black ox beetle, a literal rhino in bug form. No thanks. Finally, I discover the termites. They're pretty much ants combined with larvas, and they can throw dust that slows me down. In short, they're annoying. So annoying that this is the only time I'll mention them in this video. The upper yard was tearing me apart. None of my weapons were really doing anything, and they were all hitting for a fraction of my health bar. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't kill the bugs for better armor, and I can't make better weapons to kill the bugs. Or so I thought. I figured since I'd sunk so many resources into these weapons, continuing upgrades would be better than just making a whole new weapon. I also thought that if I replaced a weapon, I'd kinda be wasting everything I'd put into that. The only tier 3 weapon I had available was the antlion greatsword. I can kill antlions, so after a lot of arguing with myself, I decided to finally make it. I spent about 2 full in-game days in the sandbox just to get enough pincers, because antlions are not very generous with their loot pool. Even getting normal parts is rare, so getting pincers was even harder. But anyways, I made the sword, and its base damage did more than my tier 6 club. I bid farewell to the Red Ant Club that had carried me through so much of this game, and put it on a wall hanging, because apparently that's a thing in this game. Anyways, back to the upper yard. I find this poopa that I can chop with my new tier 3 axe that I made since I just barely got enough termite parts for it. How lucky. Anyways, they drop poopa hide that I can turn into poopa leather that's used for a bunch of upgrades, but the problem is that it costs 5 hide per leather, and I only get about 1 hide per poopa. So this stuff ain't cheap. I do analyze enough to finally unlock the final harvesting tool, the Black Ox Hammer. As the name implies, I need Black Ox parts to make it. Before I fight one, I want to get better armor, and I figure that ladybirds turn into good armor. Turns out they only turn into shields, and since most of my weapons are two-handed, it's not that useful to me. As I think of what to do, I explore the right side of the map, and there's this weird coffee machine that'll be important later, and further to the right is this stump. Around the stump are tiger mosquitoes and ticks. They're both just creatures that I've seen before, but a little bit stronger. Ticks are essentially just lawn mites, but stronger, and tiger mosquitoes are just mosquitoes, but more annoying. This really starts
When hiking, you're supposed to wear your socks over your pants to keep the ticks out.
I don't think that's going to help, Pete. In case you didn't realize from the giant metal tube here, there's a lab outpost underneath this stump. It's basically just like a sub-lab that just has a normal chip instead of a super chip.
The structural integrity of this lab seems like it might be a little compromised.
Oh, you think? This is pretty much just a basic parkour section. You just gotta be careful where you jump, otherwise you can get soft-locked. And I find these research notes that give me a recipe for a mantis summoning item. I don't really feel like doing that, but I figured I'd mention it. I got the door open to another chip and the black ox horn in a chest. I just need its parts now. I continue to the right and find this evil castle. What even is that?
Castle Moldork, home to the moldiest orc in the Girthscape.
There's a boss in there, probably. You don't have that weird looking of a castle and not have a boss in there. As I would later find out, I was right. I go give Burgle his chip, and this gives me the final upgrades, including alternate recipes for reinforcers and the final friendship offering. I'll go befriend all the Ant Queens later, but for now, I just used some of the reinforcers on my greatsword and went to kill a Black Ox Beetle. Honestly though, it wasn't that tough. Even if I was in hard mode, I did more damage than I thought I would, and its attacks are really easy to predict and plan for. I just had to not slip up and block everything. Unfortunately, if I get too far away, he'll throw a rock that's the size of me, and it can take out about half my health, or one-shot me if it's low enough. I managed to trick the ox into hitting a roly-poly, and we both team up on the beetle. The main problem with this fight isn't actually the ox itself, it's the creatures around it. I was getting crushed by a ladybird that just so happened to be walking around just when the ox was about to die. So this time, I cleared out all the other bugs to make sure they wouldn't interfere. With them out of the way, it was just me and it. Just waiting out the chances to get a hit in and playing it safe mostly is the best strategy here. It does take a while, but in the end... Lil Teen and the Goliath. Like I said, in the end, I got enough Black Ox parts to get the highest tier of all the harvesting tools. I finally went back to the table by the shed. I found some sour candies that gave me some sour shards, an ashtray full of toenails, and finally, like I said about a third of the video ago, a full-size scabby that I needed a tier 3 busting tool to open the slot of. And now I have a tier 3 busting tool. So I can finally insert the spare fuse that I got about what feels like half the game ago.
Scabby online. Transferring biometric data. Wendell Tully. Biometric data transfer complete. Audio file downloaded. Dr. Wendell Tully. Title. Goodbye.
Hello, my scabby-wearing friend. I do not know who you are or how you came by this message, but please tell them I tried. Tell Trudy, Thor, my little Sarah.
Sarah's his kid,
Tell the world. The sun is setting on our yard, and it brings back so many memories. Sitting in this chair, my favorite chair, my thinking chair. I fear this may be the last time I lay eyes on such a beautiful sight. I'm nearly out of time. My body shrivels more with each passing day. Even my scabby can barely fit on my bony wrist. The spacer, my greatest achievement. A disaster. The final chapter in the book of my many failures.
Oh.
Perhaps in solitude, free from my family, from Burgle, from Ominent, perhaps I can finally find a cure to this damnable reasoning. So, this will be my last adventure into the miniature world. I leave the warmth of the sun and embrace the unknown. I'll either find the answer or shrivel in the darkness below. To my lab underneath the shed. This is Dr. Wendell Tully, signing off. Goodbye.
Under shed entrance. Let's go, I guess. What's the worst that can be down here? I really shouldn't be asking that, but I mean, go bosses will probably need those. Frostbitten recipe, fresh mints to preserve food. Okay. Splat burst. Lint. There's a lot of stuff down here I probably don't want. Okay. Lint. Fire bandages.
Working in the dark is playing tricks on my mind. I fear every shadow, hear whispers in the silence. But most of all, I miss my family. Ah, Trudy and her crooked grin.
Okay, I don't have enough
eyes
inventory
at my
space to
dumb
keep going.
jokes. Sarah, my little angel. How she would jump into my arms every time I walked through the door after work. And Thor and his obsession of the month. What was the last one? Castle Moldorf? No, it was Mance. Dad, what do you mean I don't need Mant minis? Have you seen them? Do you even know what a Mant is? It's so rad, Dad. A barbarian, an insectoid warrior with the mind of a human. Wait a minute. An insect with a human mind. I wonder if... No, stop it, Wendell. The darkness is giving you strange notions again. You need to focus on the task at hand. Reasoning. Raw science. The key is here. It must be...
Going dark. You don't need to be Dr. Tully to see that that's the final area of the game. So I need to make preparations on my preparations. I only need a few things. The charcoal canteen that can purify water, and roly-poly armor that can give me more protection than my other armor. Honestly, roly-polies are a lot harder to fight than beetles. I realized I need pupa leather for everything. How much? Oh, only 12. So, for those who weren't paying attention, since each pupa leather costs 5 pupa hides, regularly get 1 per pupa, so doing the math, it would take 60 pupa hides to get the full set. Luckily though, I checked the wiki, and it turns out there's a more efficient way that the game doesn't tell you about. This is a jerky rack. You're supposed to use it to dry meat, but you know what else you can do with it? Dry 1 pupa hide into 1 pupa leather. A bit more math, the jerky rack can only hold 3 items at once. It takes 16 real-life minutes for all of them to dry out, and I need 12 leathers, so I'll need to fill up the rack 4 times. So assuming I get them the second they're ready, it'll take 64 real-life minutes to get the leather I needed. That's a lot better than spending possibly twice as much time hunting for pupas, since they're already rare to begin with. I made a second jerky rack 2 to half the time, since I needed more leather for the canteen anyway. But wait, why am I explaining this to you? Because really that's all I did for, like, this large stretch of time. Well, actually, I guess I did do something else. That's not a good sound.
The enemy is attacking!
The enemy is attacking. Whoa, larvas. I can handle a few larvas. So payback, that... Oh boy, hey, no fair, you didn't get to bring your... You weren't allowed to bring your cousin. That's it? Okay, so I did read about this in the wiki. Apparently if you... Okay, so that's supposed to be a bit more climactic, but basically, killing creatures can anger them, and if you piss them off enough, they'll send a group of that creature to attack your base. There was only 1 larva this time for whatever reason. I swear I didn't lower the difficulty, I just got lucky. Anyways, I spend my time getting the rest of the resources for the armor, then just like that, I have the new armor. I'll reinforce it a bit, but for now, I'm retiring my ladybug armor that I've been through so much with it. The first thing I do when I grab my new armor is go back to the hedge of all places. I needed something else to do while I was waiting for the rest of the hides to dry, so I decided to fight a boss. I grabbed the Broodmother researcher note I missed on my first time here, and it gave me a recipe for the Broodmother BLT that lets me fight the Broodmother, the third species of spider. That was going to have to wait, since I was getting really close to being able to go under the shed. Right after I got back with the note, I had enough Poopa leathers to make the charcoal canteen. It can scoop water from anywhere and make it drinkable. But now it has durability like a weapon that goes down every time I scoop a drop, even if it's clean. I kept learning about more things I wanted to craft just in case. I made this rusty spear that deals poison, a fire dance shield that weakens my enemies, and a special consumable that makes me invisible. I just wanted to be prepared, and I ended up not using half the items I made. Great.
I'm gonna have nightmares about this place for the rest of my life. I just know it.
There are a lot of creatures down here, but most of them I can just walk around. Then I reach the sinkhole. There's water, mosquitoes, and a webbed up cave. Webs are never a good sign in this game, especially when they're part of the environment. Sure enough, when I look in the cave, I find the final spider, the Black Widow. This spider has venom that goes through everything. Yeah, I'm not dealing with that, so I use this special bag called a Shinobi Sneeze that makes me turn invisible, and I get past it that way. Did I just go backwards? Oh no! Go, green! Attack the webs!
Poison saving throw failed!
No, I didn't just go backwards, did I? No, I have not seen this before. Okay, run. Ah.
Oh, wow. That is a lot of raw science.
Please tell me there's a bed here. Okay. That venom is incredibly bad.
Defeat. Failure. Countless infusions. Countless migraines. I'm so shriveled now, I can barely walk. In the true origin of raw science? An enigma. A mystery box with no lid. I don't think I have much longer. It is hard to think straight. I am so tired. I have only one option that remains. One last toss of the proverbial dice. Commence Project Mant.
He's gonna try and turn himself into a man-ant.
Experience playing Minotaurs and Myrmidons leads me to believe that that is not a good sound.
All that.
Project Mant is nearing completion. The first good news in as long as I can remember. Perhaps my previous failures have all led to this point. Vendepunkt, my defining moment. This new body will allow me to continue my research. I've created a super scientist. My checklist is complete. Consciousness transfer procedures will now begin. What's this? Brainwave functions are spiking. Impossible! Blasted hominid tech! Turn it off! Turn it off! Note to self. Check soldering on the relay diodes of the neural displacer. Again. Yes, again.
Okay. So sounds like it wasn't going as great as Tully wanted it to. Now I didn't want to go in here because it's probably gonna trigger a dialogue, so...
It's a real-life Mant! Just like the one in the Minotaurs and Myrmidons player book!
Yes. I'd be less excited about that if I were you. I have to find this thing.
Taking a look.
I drop into its room, and now I have to fight the Mant. I I do alright for a first try. It does hit really hard, but it's weak to my blade. The big problem comes in when it releases a bunch of fire ants. I don't really have any easy way to kill them, so I just try avoiding them, but then I need my stamina to actually swing my weapon. I need an easier way to kill the fire ants since they're the real problems here. So after a few more tries, I just leave. I don't really have anything for that fight, and I'm not ready for it yet, so I need to find a better weapon yet again. I did find one. In this exposed pipe, there is a key behind some roots. Using my bone dagger, I get the key to the chest back on the picnic table. Opening it gives me another chip, and that I was going to need. Forking it over to Burgle gave me the recipe for the mint mace. Deals tons of damage and stun, and fresh damage. After a bit of cooking, I had made the mint mace as well as the broodmother BLT. Before I go back to the man, I go fight the broodmother since I figured she'd be easy since, her recipe is part of the hedge lab. How hard could she be with tier 3 weapons in a place where there's only tier 1 enemies? Welcome to the broodmother's lair.
That should keep me safe. Safer.
Alright.
Mark that one off the list.
Slashing and spicy. My specialty.
I'm seriously regretting my life decisions right now.
Ow! Holy crap, this does a ton of damage. Wait. That's a lot of spider legs. The killer with this boss is that it can combo stuff on you. Her attacks hit hard, and you'll be poisoned unless you block them perfectly. Even with my armor, 1 or 2 bites is usually enough to kill me, simply because the venom does so much damage. I try using the mutation that weakens venom, but that barely helps. I probably could have done it, but I'd have to block pretty much everything perfectly, and all the crap I have to keep track of during this fight, like the minions, attacks along with the broodmothers, I just can't do that. So I left. I go back to base and realize the mutation that reduces poison damage was only phase 1 out of 3. To upgrade it, I needed to kill more wolf spiders. I'm a lot stronger than I was last time I tried fighting wolf spiders, so I go out and do some minor spider extermination. Now with more defense, as well as a few more smoothies I made, I went back to the broodmother. Only 1 minute in, I could tell the difference with the higher potion defense. It went from taking like a quarter of my health to barely anything. My best attempt was about 1/4 of her health left, but at this point, I was tired of this and wanted to do something else, so I left again. I decided to do one last thing before going back to the man: befriend the fire ant queen. Fire ants are everywhere in the upper yard, and fighting them is a pain. I haven't mentioned it because it happens so often, but I figure if I befriend the fire ant queen, they'll stop attacking me. I found this pit in the jungle, and there was a passage that went to the fire ant hill and the fire ant queen. I quickly made the sandwich and came back. So did it work? Well, not really. Come on, don't attack me. I'm making a deal with your queen. I gotta be fire ant. I'm gonna run now. So apparently, the game doesn't expect you to do this out of order, and the fire ants will still be aggressive even if you feed the fire ant queen. The reason this happens is because the mutation that makes ants passive only progresses whenever I befriend an ant queen. No matter which one, I get the same effects. So black ants are now passive, even though I befriended the fire ant queen. My would-be pet fire ant was killed when he tried to fight off the other ants, and I barely got alive on my own. Now I just had to feed the black ant queen, and that'd make all ants passive. So I did that. Hello, I come bearing a treat. I come bearing a gift, humble, ant queen thing. Is it Thank you. I am now the highest level ambassador in all the land. Thank you, Miss, Queen. I take my pet black ant home and name him Peyton since it was the first name I could think of. I look into what I can use the other ant queen's pheromones for. The fire ant queen makes this acid blasting staff, and the black ant queen makes this repair tool that I don't need right now. I pass on that one for now, and also go back to the fire ant queen to get a new pet fire ant, and name him Pyro, since that sounds cool. Now that that's done, it's time to return to the objective I left behind about 10 minutes ago. Time to go back and kill the mant. Oh, and remember that mint mace I got from that chip a while ago? When I said it deals a ton of damage, I mean it. Holy crap, that does a lot of damage. I really did need it for the ants he summons. It kills them in just a few hits. Kind of ironic that I'm killing the ants I just befriended. Then, somehow, I was actually hungry. I had just slept, so I guess my hunger was already so low, and I somehow outpaced my charm. Because of that, I didn't have any food, and I got distracted by it, and I died. Next time, I gave it at least a little bit of time, so my bar was at least half full, equipped a different mutation that releases a shock every few blocks, and tried it again. Absolutely annihilated. 1,000 raw science.
You may have defeated my mant, but you and your eminent paymasters will never get their hands on the embiggening cocktail. I'll take that secret to my grave. To my grave!
Tully? Don't even need to boil it.
The watched becomes the watcher.
Is that Tully?
How does it feel?
Okay. Are you in there, Tully? I got
knowing that you have.
No! How can this be? Where is the override?
Wendell!
Well, here I am! Wendell Tully in all his glory!
What the heck happened to you, dude?
You're not who I expected.
So Tully was still down here. I was pretty sure he was dead, and the raisoning has affected him so much that he lives in this pod now and looks like that. It's curious why we haven't raisined yet, because according to everything, we should be. But I'm not. Something about being a teenager apparently makes me immune to reasoning. But the big thing, he can tell me what the secret ingredient to the embiggening cocktail is. He explains a bunch of stuff about how growing too fast can be really bad, especially for living things, since one of the worst side effects is overexpansion.
If the subject grows too quickly, they are prone to overexpansion, or in layman's terms, they explode.
What?
To counter this, sustained infusions of carbon dioxide gas must be added to the mixture. Fortunately, I found a secret ingredient that works perfectly in this regard. Grilled science.
Grilled science?
No, not raw science. Grilled science. Grilled science. Raw science represents the essence of ingenuity, but thrown over the coals of fire, it is tempered by flame, tamed by Burgle's spatula, and emerges as something greater, plump and juicy.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was discovered by accident by Burgle when he tried to cook raw science.
Grilled science. It reminds me of the barbecues we once had in our backyard. Oh, Trudy, Sarah, Thor.
Alright.
The last of the grilled science is in the refrigerated storage room over there.
Okay. I grabbed the last of the grilled science out of the storage and then apparently used the back door to the lab that Tully had. That would have been nice to use. What's not nice are the new orc creatures with some kind of mind control cap on their head. Seems to make them weak to sour, since that seems to be the element that best messes with electricity. To actually brew the cocktail, I have to go to the Java-matic machine, the coffee machine with all the fancy science stuff in it. I put in the cell, and I just need to actually put in the ingredients for the cocktail now. While I was getting the extra ingredients, I actually decided to go and fight the broodmother one last time and actually kill her.
Taking a look.
Hello, broodmother. You ready to die? Demon. Rest in pieces, you abomination. 4 broodmother chunks, 2 broodmother fangs, and 1 broodmother venom. What else happened? I found this lean-to and a note saying that apparently, besides the 14s you can play as, a 5th guy woke up about an hour before me and got attacked by a spider. Rough. And that's about it. I got all the ingredients for the embiggening cocktail and put them in the Java-matic. Except, brewing it isn't that simple. Switch on the Java-matic. No way it's that simple. There is no way that I can just turn this on and make the thing that is going to save my life.
Now?
Turn it on. It is this simple. No, then what are those mixer cells? Sufficient power. Oh, that's not good.
It looks like there are still a few bugs left in the system.
repair the mixer?
We'll need to get down there and repair those mixer modules.
I knew it wasn't that simple. So basically, these 3 capsules are crucial to being able to actually brew the cocktail, and turning it on makes all of Omnit's orc bugs want to attack the wire. So basically, instead of having to defend 1 point, I gotta defend all 3 of these, and Tully gives me the location of a storage facility that I can use to build defenses. He says that if we can find the outpost that Omnin set up in the yard, we might be able to just straight up stop all the orc bugs together. Unfortunately, he really has no idea where it might be. I think I just might have an idea where the guy put... There, that has to be it. He said it's far too obvious. I think it's just obvious enough for it to be plausible. He's hiding in the castle Moldork. The only way in to the castle is to build a bridge. So, there. Now's the bridge. When I get inside, there's a hole in the floor that seems to indicate that I was right. Whoa.
This isn't one of mine. My suspicions were correct. This lab is not one of mine.
Oh.
I knew it! Schmechter has been spying on me this whole time. Classic Schmechter.
Wait.
Now, what do we have here? It's now or never. Are you ready? Touché. Okay.
Hello, this is Virgil Science Lab.
Virgil, I need you to hack into an ominous security.
Oh, Doctor, entering Falcon protocol mode. Hacking. Hacking. Still hacking.
Perhaps if you had replaced that grilling...
I'm in. Username. Schmechter.
Why, thank you,
Work receivers. Food dish that only the foulest of plates could possibly savor. Supreme parts. Nice. It's on the roof. What the heck is Schmechter doing down here?
Bravo, bravo. So the lab rats have finally reached the end of the maze.
Director Dalton Schmechter.
And not alone.
Pulling the strings from behind.
Poor Wendell. Lost your job, Trudy's left you, took the kids too, left you with nothing but your work.
At least I'm not experimenting on children!
Oh, but isn't that just what you've been doing? Hiding in your little garden and using these children to fight your battles for you because you never fight them yourself? You were pathetic before I fired you. Look at you now.
Just
stay right there and this will all be over before you know it.
Sour. This is basically a harder version of the assistant manager fight. He powers up electric ball shooters and summons Orb Weaver Juniors that, for some reason, are really difficult to kill because as soon as you killed both of them, he just summoned new one. I got pretty far, but I still lost since I wasn't really that prepared. When I got back and decided to try again, I actually got to hear the other stuff Schmechter had to say.
Poor Wendell. Lost your job, Trudy's left you, took the kids too, left you with nothing but your work.
Come on, that's
At least I'm not experimenting on children!
Oh, but isn't that just what you've been doing? Hiding in your little garden and using these children to fight your battles for you because you never fight them yourself? You were pathetic before I fired you. Look at you now. You're nothing. Just a shriveled, sad raisin.
Look, I just want to go home.
No, you won't be going anywhere until the kinks with the spacer have all been ironed out.
Okay.
Spacer is functional, true, but the raisoning effects on live subjects made the more lucrative applications impossible.
What? Lucrative application?
Shrinking inanimate objects will change the world, no doubt. The shipping industry alone will never be the same. That was the extent of Wendell's imagination. But people, the governments of the world will bankrupt each other for a mere taste of this technology.
Why experiment on kids?
Despite what my former colleague might have told you, it was certainly not by choice.
I find that hard to believe.
I hypothesized that adolescents would be resistant to the effects of reasoning. The young have incredibly strong immune systems, after all. Couple that with the intense hormonal growth, and I was pleased to learn that you are not only resistant, but immune to said syndrome.
What?
Once that connection was made, what choice did I have?
There are other ways to do that aren't freaking kidnapping them. I've heard of volunteers. Yeah, actually, you probably haven't.
So you did find a cure because of the children you abducted.
Exactly, dude. You don't have to freaking kidnap people.
Of course. I'm not a failure like you, Wendell. Yes, I abducted those children. I admit it freely. Not that anyone will ever know. Obviously, I can't allow any of you to leave this facility alive.
So this is about money.
Oh, come now. Although I won't mind the fame, the power, the respect for Director Dalton Schmechter. But in the end, my
dude, your name is lame.
Yes,
It's too lame.
It is always about the money.
Of course it is.
No one will sponsor your spirit of invention without raw profit. A simple, elementary concept. Something you never understood, Tully. With your idealism and your raw science.
You're a disgrace to the profession, Dalton.
I second that.
And you are a deluded fool.
Okay, it's official. You suck.
This is why I never had kids.
Or is it because you can never find a wife? I feel like it's both of these. You won't get away with it.
Ha. The hypothesis was developed. The experiments were conducted. The results have been
Schmechter, you son of a...
The conclusion concluded. All that remains is to take out the trash. Farewell.
I decided to try brewing the cocktail first before I sunk a bunch of time into the director. And I actually got about a quarter of the way done, but all my stuff broke really fast since I was being so careless, and eventually I broke Module A. I was pretty mad, but at least now I knew what I was going up against. So I surrounded all the modules with ash walls, with a bit of mushroom half wall on the top and burr roofs to defend against the flying bug. It looked like this, and it wasn't gonna be cheap. I needed a lot of everything. The storage facility helped, but not a lot. It took me a while to get everything I needed. I'll spare you the details and just say it took a while. The last thing I wanted was a weapon that dealt sour damage, since every single orc bug is weak to sour damage. There is one called the Acid Edge. Only problem, its recipe is dropped by the director. So I need to find something to kill the orc weavers that caused me so much trouble. Then I found the weapon that dealt every kind of damage they're weak to. The Spicy Coltana. The recipe is a bit strange. In this coal bag, there's a sword stuck in a stone. You have to defend it from ladybird larvas for enough time to learn its secret. They're weak to fresh, aka my mint mace, but if I stay too close for too long, I'll start to overheat. I did lose my first try, but I died and had to run back. Next time, I used a mutation that increased my damage even more and won easily. Turns out when you can kill everything in 3 hits, things aren't as hard. Secret of the Flaming Sword obtained. Spicy Coltana. Okay. After that, I made this salt mace since I wanted one of every single element type, and this is what the Spicy Coltana looks like. It's a 1000-degree knife. Looking back, making my hammer sour would have been a good option for the director's fight, but I didn't want to for reasons I cannot remember. Anyways, after that, it was back to Schmechter and slowly learning strategies. Like using the mint mace because of its sheer damage output, and going into third person to avoid the electric balls easier. I even brought back my ladybug armor to heal more and still died again and again and again, to the point I could make a video of compilations that of just every single time I lost. I wish I was joking. But little by little, I was getting further. I reached his third phase when he turns on these bouncing lasers. It's honestly easier than his second phase, and since there's a small area that the lasers don't reach to, so just wait there and hit the director if he happens to come by, and wait for the lasers to turn off. Not too long after that, I reached his last phase where he throws everything at me at once. At this point, I just had to go for the kill, and that led to this happening. Screw it, It took me so long to reach that part, I was close to giving up. Then I got this run. I saved here to try a new strategy and provided this on hard mode, and you know what? I'll just let you experience it.
I feel nothing really. Come on, that tickles. Jolt of energy.
counted.
Broke.
Yes, that counts. I killed the director, I just immediately ran into an electric ball. I go back to where he died. He dropped a data disk that has info on everything Omnit's been doing, including kidnapping teenagers and the curing of Phrasening. Now that I have it, I can expose everything they've been doing. More importantly, I got a recipe for the Acid Edge. That's gonna tear some orcs apart. Now, I also thought this would get rid of all the orc bugs since they don't have their leader anymore. It doesn't, but unlocking the Acid Edge is just as good. All that was left was to actually make it, and the only notable thing to mention is I need green shield bug parch, which are pretty much just upgraded stink bugs. With the gas mask and mint maze, there was a cakewalk. And this is it. It works as a chopping tool, but that's not important. I worked on getting it leveled up, and I also made a few other tools to prepare for the Java-matic event. I can't repair all the walls individually, so I made the Black Ant Queen repair tool that repairs everything in a zone around me. But other than that, I was just waiting for repair glue to finish making. Then, the day came. I was debating on which pet I should bring with me, and decided on Peyton for his damage resistance effect.
The hero's last stand begins!
I could handle the smaller ants. I could kill them with one combo. It's when everything starts piling up that things start to hit the fan. Especially when the flying bugs, since they're hard to hit and I can't hit multiple of them at once. At the end of every wave, they send a large bug that does a lot of damage. First with a ladybug, I took it out, but I took out half the walls that protected one of my modules. I could build them back up again, but I had to make sure I found the ingredients that dropped from the walls when they broke. Next was a black ox beetle that I took out pretty fast, but that left everything else vulnerable. Eventually, they cracked open one of the walls, and the acid that the fire ants spit is especially bad since they can shoot it over the walls and hit the thing anyway. The final wave sent a ladybird and a black ox at the same time. I was busy trying to get my spare cement to repair my walls out of my backpack. I managed to kill the ladybird, but ants slipped through and I lost seconds before it was finished. I reloaded. I know. Look, I've been playing this game for 2 weeks straight. I wanted this to be over. I pressed the button again and prepared to squash some bugs.
The hero's last stand begins! I'm flying!
Okay, these are like a main fire zone. Hey, wait, okay. Oh, this is my favorite power use. Okay. What? Wait! I did it! I did it! I won! Eat it, freaking orc insects! Heck yeah!
I think we've done it! Though the situation did seem rather precarious.
Yeah.
There.
You freaking bite me with your freaking pincers! I won!
When you're a little older, of course. Now, we just need to grab the embiggening cell before the orcs return. How do you like that, Director Schmechter?
Seriously though, if I'm being completely honest, the Director Schmechter fight was so much more annoying and a lot more hard. Like, the Director Schmechter fight was a lot more difficult than that was. Like, it only took me a few tries. And I died like twice, or once.
Excellent. Cell integrity appears nominal. You might be the best assistant I've ever had, but don't tell Virgil that. He's just looking for an excuse to use that grilling function.
I like this song.
Anyway, back to the spacer. Maybe we can get you home before dinner.
Heck freaking yes. Let's get the heck out of this yard. I'm gonna 100% this game. Every mixer, every boss, every chip, everything. Just freaking later, because I've been playing this game pretty much the last 2 weeks straight, and I kind of lost my mind a couple times. So I am freaking done for now. Let's grow big again. Back to where it all began, I guess.
Hey! Hey!
We need to talk.
Okay.
Well, here we are. Back where it all began. I never thought I'd say this, but it's time to go home. For all of us to go home. For the first time in a long while, I have a good feeling about the future, and it's all because of you. We'd better get you back to your families. I suspect they're worried sick about you. Perhaps they are worried about me still, but I know that I put them through a lot. I only hope that they know how much I love them. But there's no sense in being so glum. I haven't quite yet reached the end of my road, though there may not be much track left to lay. Now look, all this sad talk has me mixing my metaphors. Don't worry about me. Whatever will be, will be. Thank you for everything that you've done. I'll never forget it.
Virgil here. After our call, would you be interested in taking it?
For the last time, Burgle, no! I do not want any more of these confounded follow-up surveys.
Adequate?
Now, listen to me. This is your manager speaking. We're about to fire up the spacer. I need you to keep an eye on the raw science convergence coupling. The last thing we need is an overload spike.
Wait, you are leaving? Have you been dissatisfied with my service?
Wait, was the overload thing what happened earlier?
Don't worry. I'll come back for you when things calm down in the real world. But it may be a while.
Affirmative, Dr. Tully. I will stay behind. Again.
But I need you to keep an eye on things down here while I'm gone. Regional Science Manager Burgle?
Regional Science Manager? But, Dr. Tully, does that mean we will be franchising?
Burgle, this is a big responsibility.
Burgle got promoted.
In recognition of your work ethic and commitment to outstanding customer service.
Really? My circuits are fizzling, Dr. Tully. Have no fear. Regional Manager Burgle will not let you down.
I'm just gonna say nothing.
This is it, my young friend. When you get home, do me a favor.
Don't grow up too fast, will you?
Aww.
Okay then. Would you do the honors of flipping the switch? For science!
So there are other things. The game will... This doesn't completely end the game. There are still a couple things left for me to do. I haven't gotten every mutation, but there's a few that I don't know if I can get. I haven't completely found everything, but this row is reserved for bosses. I don't know what these are. But I will be back. I'm sure I'll be back eventually to beat this game. But Grounded 2 is out, and I've just been so stoked to play that. So, I'm gonna do that. Let's get out of here. Just then you realize just how small we really were. Several months later.
And with a flash, that was the end of the tiny adventure of a lifetime. At least that's what the local papers called it. It's hard to believe how much has happened since then. There were reporters, investigators, even the FBI got involved. They tried to keep a lid on all of it, but the whole story came out. About the kidnappings, about the dead teenagers, about Amina.
Yeah.
Turns out, everyone did learn the name of Director Dalton Schmechter, just like he always wanted.
Oh, yeah, we cured
But
Tully.
when the dust settled, the weirdest thing happened. People learned the truth about the shrinking technology and about me. It felt good to get the recognition that I had always wanted for all my life. Pete, Willow, Max, and Hoops tried to go back to being normal teenagers. Burgle has joined the Kids Do Science and Robotics Club. He's the mascot, they didn't tell him. I'm expecting big
He's the
things
mascot.
from life's getting back to normal around here. It's funny that the world can still seem so small. And no, I haven't come up with my next big invention. And I don't mind one bit either. Because when it comes down to it, all that really matters is that we make the most of the time that we have together.
So that's the good ending. Only 79 days? I died one. Alright, I completed 3/4.
That was amazing!
Hey! Bonus score hint. Complete more mixers. So, I killed 1,190 creatures. I chopped down 250 grass. I formed 1,626 perfect blocks. And I died 147 times. I was in the yard for 79 days. And I got a score of 93%. So that's the good ending. There is a bad ending where if you don't fight Schmechter, Wendell stays raisined, and since we don't get the data disk to prove Omnin is dirty, Schmechter gets credit for the shrinking tech, and everyone thinks we made everything up. Anyways, that is it. Grounded is done. I'm sorry this video took so long to make. I bit off more than I can chew here, and expect to see Grounded 2 in a little while. But until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.